see if y'all will go with it. All right, I just finished it today. In 2002, a 12-year-old peered out his windowsill for the first time in months. His God was on his mind. His father was further. He watched the wind tear tree bark off like hospital bandage. He wishes it would blow to the bay near his father, that it would carry letters like ancient poems and dazzle his body with a language that now tastes like dust. In 2011, a 53-year-old peered out his cell in the confines of Guantanamo, Cuba. His son was on his mind. His God was further. I know why the cage birds sing. I know why the cage bird sings. Howls off the lips of a man. For 9 years he's been hanging loose, broken. Hanging like the man on the crucifix with the blue eyes. He worships the Americans now. They tore a piece of his rib off that day in Central Park, his son, and told him he was a nasty Muslim man. He belonged in a place of junk and torture. They dragged his body like a tin can down a dirt road to Camp Decho and burned the tips of his fingers off to prove that he was flammable. I know why the cage birds sing. Yes, son, I know why the cage birds sing. Son, I'm praying to you a letter. I haven't slept in 9 years. I'm wired. I imagine you're 17 now. Yeah, old enough to understand what these men have done to your father. They told me I was wrong, son. For loving you in a robe that day in the park, they took me as terrorists. They mocked me, shoved my body into the mouth of Muhammad. They forced me to beg, to protest for things like hunger, to sit back and watch their flames peel open the skin of a Quran. I remember being strong. I remember being strong for you and Ma. I'm breaking, son. Chunks of me are clumping off like dead skin every morning. I'm rocking, begging, knees pressed into the soil. My prayers have become like sand, sifting through the cracks of fingers. My legs are so sloppy, son. In the period of 108 months you spend inside a small cage big enough to shadow your own breath, you learn to appreciate such small privileges this life will give you, because there is no private stall to empty a full bladder in Guantanamo, no change of clothes when you have piss dripping down your legs. And here, these men will teach you about torture. They'll teach you about shivering and squeezing your scrotum for 30 hours until reduced to flooding to standing ankle deep in the type of stench that can leave abrasions on the inner belt of nostrils. This freedom country mistook your father's body for a threat. I pray for you, Ibn. Pray for you. It's Tuesday. Prayers are still fresh on his son's tongue. He's just left mosque after hailing Allah. He silently crosses the street to his beat-up sedan as Caucasian mothers burn holes into his Muslim skin. He enters his sedan, passes 5 lights and exits right Dan Marino Boulevard. Outside the entrance, he straps 7 bombs around his waist and heaves his body in. I've always loved you, Father. Always loved you in Allah. Psh. Just moments ago, an explosion occurred in what sounded like it could have been a bomb at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. A section of the stadium has blown apart, and it is reported that there are numerous bodies scattered all over the floor. What you can see before me is clearly one of the most horrific events to plague America since September 11th. A foot of debris has covered the center bleachers. There is smoke raging from both field poles and either end of the stadium. People are literally shoveling themselves out of inches of dirt and making way to the center arena. We will now stand by to wait for the president to address the nation. Psst. I know why the cage birds sing. I know why the cage birds sing. The sun and the downfall.